Ho, 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 ho. Welcome to Christmas in Korea. Should that be Christmas with a K to make it catchy and cheesy? But I don't think we'll be too cheesy because right now we're on my home streets of Yeonsan-dong, which is Midtown Korea, or Midtown Busan, the city that I call home. And so what are we doing today? It's Christmas Eve here in Busan's second city. And while it might not be as festive as back home with all the lights and trappings, we still observe Christmas in Korea in our own way, especially in the kind of foreigner expat community. And so what I'm doing now today is I'm going to walk across town to my Christmas Eve dinner with some friends where we're going to have sashimi, sushi at one of the best restaurants in town. But I think I'll take you on a guided tour on foot from Yeonsan-dong to Texas Street, where we're going to meet for some pre-dinner drinks. What's Texas Street? Texas Street is the old red light district of Busan, where the soldiers during the Korean War, the American soldiers, would go for maybe a hamburger, a beer, and a Coke. It's still around, though it's a lot more Vladivostok these days than Texas. It's kind of ruled by Russians and a lot of Filipinos as well. But it's still kind of seedy and fun. So we'll be meeting up there for a couple cheeky drinks before our tuna feed. But on this walk, I'm gonna do a walk how I like to do. I don't always do a walk like this, but we're gonna do it today, which means we're gonna walk across town and we're gonna make a couple pit stops and get a couple sneaky cans, maybe a little dash of vino or sake, some spirits to kind of fuel us on the way. Because after all, this is Korea. Unlike the land of the free, you can just grab a beer and walk down the street and it's perfectly fine. Not that the locals do it that much. It's maybe looked down upon, and I don't like to walk around with a beer in my hand too much. It is a little gauche, but being the festive holiday of Christmas Eve, I think today I can get away with it. So let's start by going to my local store and seeing what beers they have on selection. Okay, this is my local store. I like to call it Black Mart because it's a black mart. It's actually called Trowel Mart, like trowel, like the little shovel. I don't know why they call it that. It's spelled with an A. But you see, we have a lot of soy sauces and meat and everything that you would expect in a Korean store. But we're going to the beer section, which is my favorite spot, of course. And let's see what they have on offer here today. Here we go. When I first moved to Korea, we used to just drink Korean beer because foreign beer was far too expensive. But after some free trade deals with Europe and North America, the foreign beer got a lot cheaper. Now, especially look here, we got Pilsner Urquell for what, Chungubek Wushipwan, which is about $1.60. So we'll be having one of those bad boys for some Christmas cheer, a little Czech beer. But now that I've got my roaming beer, let's continue on our walk to Texas Street, to Ambi's, the Filipino bar where I'm gonna meet my foreigner friends for some cheeky Filipino beers before we gorge on endangered species tuna. But in the meantime, it is Christmas, so let's talk about Christmas in Korea, which, you might ask yourself, do they have Christmas in Korea? Yes, they do. It's a national holiday. It is celebrated to a point, but it's not celebrated like it is back home. Back home, Christmas is a month-long festival, isn't it? It goes from, like, in the States at least, from the day after Thanksgiving, which we call Black Friday, I guess at this point. It goes from Black Friday all the way to New Year's Day. And there's parties and there are concerts and church services and family get-togethers and gift exchanges. It's a whole thing. Lights are up, there's decorations, there's music. There's a whole spirit for about a month. But here, they do a bit of that. I mean, if you go to Starbucks, they play Christmas music and they put up some Christmas lights here in the city. There are 2 big displays. So yeah, it's kind of a thing, but like on Christmas Day, Korean families don't really gather and exchange gifts. They might do a little bit It's actually more, curiously, it's become like a couples thing. On Christmas Day, couples go out and like have a date, and all the love motels of the country are booked. So there's a lot of other stuff going on Christmas, a lot of other happiness, if you know what I'm saying. And that's kind of interesting. But then again, there's also about 30%, at least 30%, I would guess more towards 35% of 50 million people in the country are Christians. And so, of course, as Christians, they take Christmas very seriously as to celebrate the birth of Jesus and that. But yeah, I mean, aside from the Philippines, I think Korea is the second most Christianized Asian country. Now, at least in percentage of the population. Now, China actually may have more Christians just because there are so many people in China that, you know, just even a small percentage is like 100 million or 200 million. Whereas in 50 million South Koreans, yeah, they say about 33% of them are Christians, and that's Catholic and Protestant, you know, both sects. So they celebrate Christmas here. It is a thing, but it's not the thing like we do. But in my 18 years here, I've always kind of tried to keep the tradition alive. I, you know, go out with my wife or meet some friends, we have some food, celebrate in our own small way, but it still will never be the same as it is back home. Here you see the streets in my beautiful neighborhood of Yeonsan-dong. Yes, it's a lovely place. Kind of working class, it's midtown, it's no bells and whistles. I like living in Yeonsan-dong because it's like very basic Korea, you know? There are almost no foreigners here. There's not a lot of fancy stuff. It's cheap. It's just, it feels like real life to me. And it's a good place to live. I'm a big Yeonsan-dong fan. There's a couple other Yeonsan-dong people in my neighborhood. My buddy Sam lives in the greater neighborhood. And we kind of like it. Like everybody wants to live in Haeundae or on the beach in Gwangali, and that's cool. I mean, maybe if I was young and single, I might live out there, but it's, you know, it's more expensive, and there's just more foreigners everywhere, and it just doesn't, I don't know, does this feel more authentic to me? Yeah, I guess it does. But I also don't like to be an authentic gatekeeper. I think that's kind of lame. Oh, my neighborhood is more authentic than your neighborhood. Yeah, I'm cooler because no one speaks English at the local market, and I'm the only white guy. I mean, that's kind of lame, isn't it? I think there's room for everybody in Busan because, let's be honest, there aren't a lot of foreigners in this city. It's not like, it's weird, you go to Seoul, sometimes you go to Itaewon or Hongdae or some of these neighborhoods, even places in Gangnam, and like even at the convenience store, they speak a bit of English. They all, you know, they kind of make an attempt. It's way more internationalized. They're used to seeing foreigners, but man, in Busan, they're still not used to that shit here. You know, you still get stared at, and especially in this neighborhood, there ain't no motherfucking English getting thrown your way. You gotta rock Korean. That's just how it is. Boring old Yeonsan-dong. There's not a lot to see in this particular stretch. But if you're curious as to what Busan looks like on the ground level, here it is. What do we got? We got a lot of white cars. White cars are popular in Korea. And here we have the, we call these bongo trucks. This is a porter, it's a different one, but this is what passes for a pickup truck in Korea. They're just smaller, you know? Obviously, it's not the big testosterone, fuck you Trump truck that you see back in North America, but it gets the job done. You have a payload and everything you want. And here we have an old school, this is an old school mart called LG Mart. Oh, LG is one of the big corporations here, even though I doubt this is that LG. But you see the sign here, it says Tambe. That means they're licensed to sell cigarettes. So you can get your smokes here. How much does smokes cost in Korea? Well, these days it's about 4,500 won, which is 4,500 won, which in American money is about, you know, $3, $3.25, something like that. So pretty cheap compared to the States, where you're paying 10 bucks a pack, or Canada, it's probably 20 bucks a pack. I think I heard in Australia and New Zealand they pay $30 or $40 a pack for cigarettes. I mean, I think it was 15 or 20 bucks a pack when I was there in New Zealand 12 years ago. And you see this around, you see PC. No, it doesn't mean politically correct. What it means is personal computer, PC bang. It means it's a computer cafe, and the people go there to play video games. It's mainly young men playing their video games, and they scream at each other and drink coffee and eat ramen. It's kind of not a good experience if you want quiet. And here we got this guy. Look at this. This is the legendary Arm X. You see this all the time. This is telling people not to dump their trash. It says, Soregi Borijimaseo, don't dump trash here. And this is the Ajashi giving you the Arm X saying, no, never, ande. And you get this a lot in Korea. The Arm X. It's just the body language for no. And it's very clear. And they love to give it to foreigners when something is impossible, as they often say. I've been Arm X'd so many times, I can't even count. And it's, but I've never seen it anywhere else. I don't know any other countries that do it. And obviously it makes sense. It's kind of a smart way to express forbidding, express something that cannot be done. Expressing impossibility, maybe we can say. And look over here, we got a restaurant over here. This is a very typical Korean Busan place. Yeah, and this place they do some different dishes. It's a gisa restaurant, which means it's for taxi drivers. They specialize in taxi drivers here, so they advertise for taxi drivers to come here on their break and eat, and it's cheap and good. So you'll see it full of like middle-aged men, and these are kind of the rougher Busan restaurants. They're kind of rough and tumble. The food's usually very good, but yeah. It's no nonsense. Yeah, if you ever want a good bowl of soup, especially daejugukbap, which I did my last video of, always go to a gisa 식당, because gisa 식당 항상 맛있어, 맞아? Yeah, taxi 기사 여기 단골이에요. Yeah, 맞아. Yeah. 반갑습니다. Yeah. So yeah, that guy agreed with me. He's like, yeah, taxi drivers go here, and the taxi drivers know where to eat in this town. So always look for that. And then over here, what do we have over here? We have one of these, look at this house across the way. I'm gonna spin around. This is one of these places. Look, you have like a wall and like some trees. It's like a little compound. You don't see big rich people houses. Most rich people live in big apartments, but you'll see a few of these, like little compounds. And they're worth some money. Like whoever lives there has a bit of cash, I guarantee it. And that's the traditional Korean way, actually. I was complaining about the apartments being blocked off, but the houses here too. If you have money, you have a wall, you have a gate, and no one can see in to the madang, which is the yard in the front. But look at this thing. That looks like a little castle, man. It would survive a North Korean missile attack. Check this out. This is an actual CD store. And what do we got? We got ABBA, Andy Williams, Nana. I don't know who Nana is, but she looks pretty cool. Smokey. Smokey is maybe a British band that's popular here that I never heard of, but they were like a 70s band that old school Koreans love. Got the Ventures, oh, very good. Good Seattle area band. Elvis, and of course, Michael Jackson. And check it out, yeah, they have all sorts of CDs. It's totally old school, man. Here we are. This is one of my favorite spots in the city that we're just gonna walk through right now. It used to just be street, and well, there were some train tracks nearby, and there was a bunch of pet stores, and there was also a red light district. There was a Ho Warren. Yeah, there's prostitutes. It used to be right over here, and sadly they ripped out the prostitute Ho Warren But instead we have a nice urban park, which is in the middle of, we have streets on this side and streets on this side, so it's like a giant median. And it's just a really good example of Busan like putting its civic money into urban renewal and betterment, like making the city nicer with green spaces, public spaces. And yeah, as much as I bitch about these new apartments like taking over the commons, they do sometimes supplement with things like this. And I should hope that those big apartment blocks that rip out streets that we can no longer go help pay for this stuff. Like, look here, you see this big square? All these little shiny things here in the setting sun. In the summer, this is a huge fountain. It shoots water. And so children and whoever wants to come cool down and play in the water can. It's just lovely. And trust me, the summers here are so hot that you need to cool down, and cool water is just the thing, because this place turns into a humid swamp in the summer. You can see some new apartments over here. This is Busan, this whole place we're in right now. We're between Yangjung and Bujong, which coming into Sumyeon, which is kind of the downtown area. And yeah, they have built up all these new sort of buildings. There are so many high rises in the city now, it's incredible. It's just kind of, what used to be this rough and tumble sort of, you know, gritty, tatty port town has transformed into this gleaming 21st century Asian metropolis. And you know, I think with Busan, you know, I still think the secret is kept. I know I do a lot of work for some magazines writing about this city, and I kind of feel guilty because I don't really want to let the secret out, because first of all, I like having cheap rent. My rent is dirt cheap. I get to live in this great modern city for like rent that I'd be paying for a hovel in Seattle in the 90s. It's incredibly cheap. So part of me doesn't want to let the secret out, but man, this city is such a gem. You know, you got beaches, you got mountains, you got gleaming high rises and high-tech, state-of-the-art subways and parks, and you know, just restaurants everywhere you look, all the food you want, and like the verve and excitement that East Asia has to offer, street markets and you know, and little boozers and everybody kind of out and enjoying themselves. So, you know, I talk about Busan a lot, and I really mean it, that this place is a special place, and everyone who's moved here knows it, and people who've moved away back to Canada or Australia or the States, and you may have good lives back there, it's great, but almost everybody I know still longs for Busan because they know it's a special place. It's and it's still under the radar. You travel abroad, you tell people you live in Busan, what do they say? Where? What? Busan, you live in Seoul? Korea's Seoul. And even people in Seoul, especially the fucking expats up there, everyone thinks that, like you see on these like Facebook groups, they're like, oh, you know, they ask a question, where's a good pizza place or whatever, and they don't say where they're from. They just assume everybody lives in Seoul. Guess what, motherfuckers? We don't. There are thousands of us down here. There are millions of us in Busan and Gyeongsang-namdo, the region, and that includes Ulsan and Changwon and Masan, which are all great cities in themselves, and it's a huge metropolitan area. So I sing the city's praises massively because, I mean, look at it. It's clean. It's immaculate. Back home, there would be people living in this park. There'd be needles on the ground. There'd be tweakers and crack smokers. There'd be fucking human shit. And I hate to drive that point home because I love where I'm from, but I was recently back in Seattle and it was a disaster area. But here in Korea, look at this park. Not a single homeless person, not a tent, not a needle, not even drunk people. And there are plenty of drunk people in this country. But this park is lovely. You can come here with your kids, you can come here with your dog. And guess what? This is just one of scores of parks in the middle of this city where you can kick it and do your thing. And also check this out, check this little trench here. You see this trench I just got into? Yeah, see this trench? In the summer, again, this trench fills with water and you can wade in the cool water. And then up here, there's going to be some, there's like little like stones and accoutrements that you can walk over barefoot because you want to take your feet off when you're in this, and they massage your feet. So it's like a foot massage sort of thing in the middle of this park, and it's all clean, it's wonderful, it's free. The great thing about walking from Yeonsandong to Texas Street, and Texas Street is actually in the neighborhood called Choryong, which is right across from Busan Station, the train station. But the great thing about this walk is I get to go through one of my favorite places in the whole city, and that is this place. It's called Busan Market, Bujong Shijang. And this to me is probably the best market in the city, aside from Chagalchi Fish Market, which is its own kind of thing. But this is just locals, no tourists. It's great food. It's everything that you want from a Korean market. Everything's popping. You have the colors, the smells. Everything's delicious and fresh and cheap. You get everything here for better prices than you're gonna get anywhere in the city. And every time I walk through Busan Shijang, my heart soars because it's just it's a wonderful place. And everyone's kind. I mean, look at this. How many types of seaweed you have? You have miyok, you have kajami, you have kim. It's just, it's, yeah. 네, 맛있어. Yeah. Oh, yeah. 매생이. Oh, 매생이, yeah. 매생이, 안 먹어봤어. Yeah. See, there's so many types of seaweed I don't even know, and I've lived here for 18 years. And this is some good stuff. And look here, we got some meat, all kinds of meat. We got some miyok and delicious food here in this Shijang. Shijang means market in Korean and Chinese as well. It's actually a Chinese word. But just kind of, let's go through here. We got chicken going on here. She's cutting up some chicken. Chickens are chilchanan. That's 7,000 won. That's about $5 for a whole chicken. It's going to be some good stuff. And let's go into the main concourse here. Oh, of course we have octopus, you know. These octopus. I know octopus are intelligent creatures. We probably shouldn't eat them, but they're so delicious. And the Koreans do octopus so well that I'm kind of addicted. So it's like you say, yes, I eat cow, I'm not proud. Kurt Cobain said that. Yes, I eat octopus, and I am a puss for not saying no to octopus. But let's go deep in the concourse here at Busan Shijang, my favorite Shijang in Busan. And that's saying something because Busan has some really good Shijangs. But this place, man, this just has it all. Look, oh, check this out. This is one of my favorite stalls in the whole city. It's just peppers. Look at this. Gochu, 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 gochu. Yeah? See all those red peppers behind me? That is some good stuff. And they use that to make gochujang. And gochujang is the pepper paste that basically is in almost every Korean dish. A friend of mine once said that in Korea, red is a flavor, and I believe it. And now we're coming into some fish. We have galchi here. Galchi is, yeah.
Good.
Galchi, let's turn around and look at the galchi for a minute. Yeah, galchi, we say hairtail in English, or scabbard fish. Galchi in Korea is a very, very popular fish. It's very silver, especially in Jeju-do, Jeju Island. They have the galchi, and we got some goringa here. Yeah, goringa majo? Yeah, goringa mackerel, which is a lovely oily fish, underrated, I think. Yeah. So let's turn this back around. Oh, let's just look at some more fish. There's some dongtae, youngtae maybe. Yeah, see, let's just see this market come alive. We got some twigum here, which are fried goods. And of course, shrimp, seo, and more myungtae, and of course, banchans. Some kimchi, very spicy and nice. Little clams, little cockles, they say here. Gomak, they call them. Wanggomak. Wang means king in Korea, but it also means big. And of course, jeonbok, which are, we say, these are the good ones, man. Abalone. They love abalone here. They pay high price for that stuff. It's the good gear. And let's continue down the main concourse here in Busan, which is the Wangxijang, as far as I'm concerned, here in Busan. Every time I come here, I just get hungry. We have some, yeah, they got some skate, which is, they eat, which is kind of like a ray. Yeah, they have tuna and cuttlefish and all sorts of oysters. Sengur, which is fresh oysters. It's just, yeah, you can't come here and not be hungry if you're a food guy. And who's not a food guy? I mean, everybody's a food guy, aren't they? We like it. But when I first came to Korea, there was a traditional market across the street from where I lived, and that's how I fell in love with Korea, because these kind of markets is just what everybody's eating and buying and selling, and there's energy and happiness, and to me, it's the heart of this country, and I fell in love with Korean markets. So every time I come here, I feel happy, I feel exhilarated. It's such an exciting place. The lights, the smells, the colors, you know. And this, by the way, this is a wet market. Remember when COVID first came around? And there was all that shit about, oh, those dirty Chinese wet markets, like wet meant dirty. Like, this isn't what, all a wet market means is they sell seafood, they sell fish. It's not dry goods. You have dry goods and then you have wet goods, which are like fresh ingredients. So any Asian market is a wet market. So if anybody pulls that wet markets are nasty shit on you, that's some racist ass shit as far as I'm concerned. No, wet markets are the coolest places in the world, man. I live for wet markets, and Bujang is probably the best wet market in the city. I mean, just look around, come on, man. This is kind of paradise as far as I'm concerned. And now we are in Seomyeon. And Seomyeon is basically the downtown of Busan. It's the central business district. It's where the insurance and finance companies are. But there's also, as you will see, loads of restaurants and bars and nightlife. It's kind of where a lot of the stuff happens. I love Seomyeon. It's just, you know, it's thrumming and vibing. And it really feels like a city. It's colorful and fun and a little rough at times. This area cleaned up. I remember this, you see this wheelchair over here. There used to be an old school mart here and some benches, and this is where all the old boys would drink soju 24/7, and it got really rough. About as rough and sketchy as Korea will ever get, this place got. But yeah, you see, Seomyeon is wonderful. Let's go down. Let's go underneath. I should probably put my mask on because Korea, let's switch. Korea still has a mask mandate, which means when we're indoors, I have to wear a mask. So here it is. This selfie stick is new. So let's go like this, okay? Mask 착용해야 돼요. 꼭 해야 돼요. All right, cool. Which means you must wear a mask. And I will. Because the one great thing about Korea is they have a sense of community here. I mean, they can be selfish and weird. They're not always great with strangers. But when shit gets serious, when there's like a crisis or a national emergency, they come together. So when COVID came to Korea, everybody wore a mask. Everybody obeyed the rules. There were no scofflaws. There was nobody like, oh, I'm not going to do that. You know, maybe not everybody got the shot, but if they did it, they were kind of quiet about it. It wasn't like back home where it became politicized, where like right-wing people didn't get the shot, or right-wing people didn't wear a mask, and only libtards wear the mask. No, in Korea, and Korea is as politically divided as the United States. The right and the left here hate each other, just like back home. But you know what happened when COVID happened? The right-wingers here all put on masks, and they did their duty, and they continued to hate Korean liberals with masks on. So it's not that different. So now we're in a pedestrian underpass here in Seomyeon, and we're gonna go up on the other way, the other side, and walk more into this, one of my favorite neighborhoods in the city. And again, look how clean this station is. It's immaculate, not a piece of graffiti, no garbage, no junkies, no sketchiness, just a really nice public space. And people wonder why I stayed here, you know? I'm coming up the stairs. I think I could sneak my mask off now. I'll be honest, I'm a bit of a mask hater. I mean, I believe that masks reduce transmissions. I don't argue against their efficacy. I just think they're super uncomfortable and I hate wearing them. But I will. And even after the pandemic, I'll wear a mask in a crowded bus or an airplane. You know, places like that, because I went for 3 years without having a cold. 2 weeks ago, I had my first cold in 3 years. I used to get 3 colds a year. So that saying said, oh, check this out. This guy's one of my favorites. 안녕하세요. Yeah. He does a thing called geranbang. Geranbang is, geranbang is egg cooked in kind of a sweet bread. It's a lovely treat. And I often buy from this guy. It's chanan. It's like 80 cents. And he does a great job. He's here all the time. It's really great in the winter. Yeah. 안녕하세요. Yeah. And I guess we can talk a little bit about Korean. Of course, in Korean, the way you greet people is 안녕하세요. And then when you're leaving, if you're leaving, you say to them 안녕히 계세요. But also we have you might have heard me. I might say thank you in Korean. Thank you is 감사합니다, 감사합니다, and that's kind of the formal way. But in Busan, most people don't say 감사합니다. They do sometimes, but they usually say instead 고맙다, which is 고맙습니다. Is the high hello, how you doing? Which is the high level. 고마워요 is the middle level, or 고마워. And so I usually say 고맙습니다. It's just a little warmer. It's a little friendlier. 감사합니다 is a bit too formal for me. So when you hear me say 고맙습니다, 고마워, I'm just saying thank you. They have 2 thank yous here in Korea. Oh, and guess where we're coming in now? Now we're coming into where I made my last video. If you saw that, all 240 of you and my 40 YouTube subscribers or whatever. I'm such a non-entity on YouTube, and I'm good with that. I'm just doing this for fun. We are in Steam Alley. Remember Steam Alley? What's Steam Alley? Steam Alley is Daejigubap Gomul. Yeah, Daejigubap. Daejigubap, of course, is Busan's signature food. We love Daejigubap, and here there are several famous Daejigubap teams. I ate there last time, drank some soju, and came here and talked about the 맛있는 Daejigubap that you can eat here, and this is the best place. Yeah. Yep. Yep. Yeah. 감사합니다. Yeah. 반갑습니다. Yeah. 지금 video. What is it? What's it? Yep. 감사합니다. What is it? 녹화 중이야. Yeah. I'm videoing. So, and these guys. This is Steam Alley is one of my favorite places, and this is really here. Let's get. This is Steam Alley. See, there's the steam, and I can smell those pork bones boiling, ready to make the gumur for the Daejigubap. This is some good ass shit. Daejigubap is my favorite, one of my favorite foods. I wouldn't say my favorite. It's a bit rich sometimes. I have to be in the mood. You know, Daejigubap's a commitment. It's really like a pork blast. So if you want something lighter, it's not good. But after, like, go hiking in cold weather, and then come down off the mountain and have a bowl of Daejigubap, and nothing's gonna be better. It's hot, it's filling, it's savory, and then you get that crunchy, spicy kimchi. Oh, here's some more steam. You wonder why we call it Steam Alley? Because it is Steam Alley. Look at that Daejigubap cooking. That is some good gear. Tell you what. But tonight, I don't have Daejigubap on the menu. I have chamchi. Oh, here, this place is very famous. If you see, this is called, now my camera's reversed, but it's called Gijang Son Kalguksu, and Son means hand in Korean. So Son Kalguksu is handmade. And if you look behind me, you can see this imo, this auntie, she's making the kalguksu by hand. She's doing the noodles and cutting them with a knife. And kalguksu means knife cut noodles. So this is maybe the most famous kalguksu place in the city, and it's bang on, it's dirt cheap, and they're always slammed, you can see. And we got Steam Alley, would it be Steam Alley with more steam? And look at this shit. This is mandu. This is a great mandu stand. Mandu is Chinese for dumplings, and they have all kinds of mandu here. They have donuts, and they just steam it up. Seomyeon is kind of, you know, it's a very exciting part of town, and you can see why. Oh, let's check this out. This is another place. This is a tteokbokki stand. They do tteokbokki, which is the rice cake you see in the red sauce over here. Tteokbokki, and they do tigim. Tigim is a deep fried snacks, which I really like. I like to pour the tteokbokki sauce over the tigim, and that's the good stuff. Yeah, man. And especially Korean street food's good. It's especially good in the winter because also what you have here is, see this more steam? This is the odeng or omuk, which is a fish paste, and they have it in the pool of the gumur, which is the broth, and you can drink it in a cup. It's like when you're done eating, you drink that gumur, and it's like, the gumur is the broth, and it just warms you up. It's salty, it's fishy, it's just one of the best things. So this is one of the best tigim tteokbokki stands in Seomyeon. This alley in particular, you'll see this whole alley is nothing but food. And I'm getting hungry walking down this alley. I want to eat more, but I have to save my appetite for dinner because we're having chamchi for dinner. I can't have tteokbokki. Yeah. 하지만 너무 배고파. 다 먹고 싶어. Yeah.
Very delicious.
Oh, very delicious. Yeah. Oh. Shincha. All right, I'm going to turn this camera off for right now. I think you see, we'll get one more emo in the background here, and look at that. Look at that stuff. That is the goodness. This is why I live in this country. Seattle, I remember living in Seattle, they had like one hot dog stand you could get. But Korea, you have food everywhere all the time, and it's cheap, and it's delicious, and it's good. So why would I want to move home? Well, it wouldn't be Seomyeon unless I could stop for a quick pint. So here, in this frigid winter weather, I managed to find a glass, an ice glass full of Terra, which is one of the local Korean beers. It's not particularly tasty, but well, like Anthony Bourdain once said, you know what kind of beer I like? I like cold beer. So here we are. Well, the idea was to walk all the way to Texas Street, but unfortunately I've run out of time. My friends are waiting for me, and I underestimated how much time it takes to film shit and like talk to the camera. So instead we're gonna take the subway for the rest of the way. I've walked about half the way. So let's look at what an experience in the Busan subway is like. Again, look at this beautiful station. Immaculate, spacious, state-of-the-art. And the nice thing about the Busan subway is if you get your card registered, like me, boom, you can just scan your credit card or your bank card, and it just takes the fee, which is about 1,500 won, something like that, straight out of your card. I think they add it up for the month, and then at the end of the month, you just get charged. You know, usually for me, it's like 40 or 50,000 won a month, so that's like, you know, 30, 40 bucks for a state-of-the-art, beautiful, on time, completely clean, junky, tweaker-free subway. So yeah, it's Friday night, so this one looks a little busy. So we'll go in for a minute. I hope people don't get upset that I'm coming on with a camera, but we're just gonna try this, all right? We're just gonna come in to this subway's car. And you can see everybody's wearing a mask because Koreans are very good that way. They wear masks. And not out of any righteous liberal thing, but people wear masks because it's the rule, and you just keep the rule. Well, now I'm in one of my favorite neighborhoods in Busan. I took the subway a few stops and I got off in what's called Choryang. And Choryang is near Nampodong, which is the old harbor. And Choryang is a great neighborhood full of little restaurants and cafes and bars and little houses. And it goes all the way up. If we look down the street here, you might see, okay, yeah, you see the street and you might see a little mountain behind me, yeah. It goes all the way up the side of the mountain and there's all sorts of little alleys and stairways and like a little rabbit warren of coolness that Choryang just sort of sprawls. And it's also one of all of these hillsides initially were settled by refugees from North Korea or the northern part of Korea during the Korean War. So they were shanty towns. And then the shanties eventually got turned into little houses, but that sort of infrastructure that they brought, the little alleys, the small houses, the nooks and the crannies and the stairwells are still there. And so I'll do a video later where I will explore these hillsides during the day and you can see exactly how cool they are. But Choryang is kind of the entrance point to those great hillside neighborhoods. And there's a great Shijang here, a market. We're gonna walk into that. Really nice restaurants. There's a stream. You can see, if you look here, this is a stream. And in the summer, it gets full of water from the mountain, comes down. And they made like a boardwalk along the stream and some lights. Walks all the way up to the hillside. It's super sweet. But guess what? We're gonna go in another market right now because I like markets. And this is Choryang Market. It's getting a little closed up. As you can see, people are going home. They come here early. And if you want to feel a little Christmas cheer, we got some Christmas trees here, Christmas lights. Yeah. Merry Christmas. It is Christmas Eve. Merry Christmas. Yeah. And here we are, the place that has been my destination for the last few hours. And even though I cheated and got on the train, we have finally arrived on Texas Street. And again, Texas Street originally was founded as a red light district for the American soldiers and sailors here during the war. But now it's been taken over by our maybe enemies, the Russians. It is now Russian Street, which is kind of ironic, seeing as how we're basically in a proxy war with those guys. But the Russians are here. There's a lot of Russian sailors in town. They bring ships. They do a lot of fishing. Korea buys a lot of crabs, and they buy a lot of like pollock and seafood from Russia and other raw materials, of course. So the Russians are here doing business, and they do their thing, and they need a place to kick it and chill, a place where they're comfortable, and Texas Street is exactly where it is. But also Texas Street now is like, it's Russia Street and it's also Filipino Street. The Filipinos are here. You'll see this club here. It says, again, I need to adjust my camera so everything's not backwards. I'm still learning how to do this shit. Club Manila, that's a fun club, like Filipino bands. But you see everything they have here, and here's the sign. They don't have it on right now. I don't know why the light's not on, but you can see that Texas Street. Of course, it's reversed. Again, I'm learning how to use this technology. I'll unreverse it soon or just buy a new camera. But on the other side of Texas Street, what do we got? We got, you see that? We have Chinatown, and this is Korea's Chinatown right here. So we go from USA, Russia, Manila to China. And look at those lanterns, man. And this is some good stuff. And right here, you see all these people grouped up? Look at all these motherfuckers here waiting. What are they waiting for? I'll tell you what they're waiting for. They are waiting for Shinbol-won. Shinbol-won is the best mandu, which is dumplings, in Busan. Super famous steamed dumplings, Chinese style, like soup dumplings. They're crazy good. People wait an hour or two for one of the little tables in the tiny ass restaurant in there, or get them to go. And so when you come to this city and you want some really good Chinese style mandu, this is the place called Shimbo One. Yeah, it's worth the wait. And probably half these people are from Seoul. Yeah, Busan people don't wait here. The Seoul people come here, they get their mandu, and then they go on the KTX and they go back to Seoul. Yeah, it's kind of it's famous for Seoul people. Like the locals, you know, we live here. Who wants to wait an hour for some dumplings? But I'm telling you, those are some good dumplings. They're the best. And then down here, if you go further on Texas Street, and we're in China Street now, but they have some cool stuff, man. What I like about it is there are a couple cool, like Russian and Uzbek places down here where you can get some bread, get a bottle of vodka, get some pickles, you know. I know we have some problems with the Russians, but man, Russians have good stuff, man. And so I haven't stopped drinking vodka, you know. I'm Slava Ukraina all the way, man. Shit, go Ukraine. But you know what? You know what? Even so, I will eat some good Russian bread. I will drink some vodka because that is good stuff, man. In this store, they have it all, man. They got sausage. They have Uzbek bread, vodka. You can get some, probably caviar. You know, all that good Russian stuff. You can get it here, man. And it's nice because we like that stuff. We want peace. I don't want problems with our people. Let's break bread and not have any wars anymore. How's that sound?
No, I took a big gap from I started playing some I picked up a gaming laptop last year.
사케가 종류가 이 세 개밖에 없어요. 갑바도교사 바로 주말.
Yeah, no, I function 2010.
Look at this. Chamchi Pati. Tuna for years. Yeah. All right. All right, I'm here with my friend Robbie. Robbie, say hi.
Hey, 안녕하세요 or hello.
Hello, yeah.
Whatever.
And we are eating some tuna.
Yes, we are.
Here, this thing is a master. Look at this guy. Yeah, this guy. Every Christmas we come here, and we get down with some deep fish. And Robbie is visiting back in his hometown of Busan.
Love me some Busan. Busan number one.
We got John and Will. These are all my best friends in town. Among them, we're missing a couple people. David, say hi. Yeah, say hello to the camera. I'm doing my little fucking thing. Yeah.
All right, what we should do? Cheers to Saki.
Merry Christmas. All right, cheers. Hey, everybody, John.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Sign up to the World According to
I walked.
And if you haven't, World According to Tharp. And look, if you haven't, hit the like button and subscribe.
Hit the like and subscribe, motherfuckers.
Smash the like button.